Guys, welcome to the third part of our topic, factorization. Today we'll look at factorizing quadratics. So let's start by looking at the following example. X squared plus 14x plus 24. So this is what you do whenever you're given a quadratic to factorize. You look at the coefficient, the number that is before x. In this case it's 1. Okay, but we don't write 1x squared, we just write x squared. Then we look at the constant here, which is what, 24. Then we'll multiply the two. We still get what, 24. Then the number on the middle there is what, 14. Okay, so now we have to look at two numbers, the products of 24. Okay, that when you multiply them, the two numbers, when you multiply, you should get a 24, and when you add the two, you should get a what, 14. So now we'll start looking at the products of 24. So you guys should be familiar with the multiplication table to easily solve this. Okay, so we'll start by looking at the 24 times 1. We multiply, get 24, we add, we get 25. So we're not looking at this one. Then we have 6 times what, 4. When you multiply, we get 24. When we add, we get a what, 10. So we're not looking at this. Then we have 12 times 2. Right, when we multiply, we get 24. When we add, we get 14. So these are the numbers we want. So now you open brackets, two brackets. Here write our x, write our x. This will give us our x squared. Then you take these numbers you found, and then you simply write plus 12 plus 2, because they are both positive. So this is your answer. So guys, if you are not familiar with this method, you would use the longest method, but it's still the same thing. So take x squared. Now our number is 12x plus 2x. We'll replace the 14x. Okay, so now here we can group factorize this and this individually. So here common factor x, then here 12, because x and x cancel. Here common factor is 2, x, 24 into 2 into 24, 12. Okay, so now here 18, x plus 12, x plus 2. So you see, still the same thing, but use this method here to spend less time solving. So now guys, we'll look at a more difficult example. So now here we're looking at the coefficient of x is 1, then we have 18. Okay, so 18, then the number on the middle is what, 11. Okay, so it's a negative number, so which means that you have to look at two negative numbers. Okay, two negative numbers, because negative times negative, that will get us a what, a positive 18. So we have to look at two negative numbers that when you multiply them we get 18, and when you add we get a what, minus 11. So we'll start by looking at the products, negative products of 18. So minus 18 times minus 1, it gives us 18, but when you add we get a minus 19. So we're not looking at these two numbers. Then we have minus 9 times minus 2. When you multiply them rather, we get 18, but when we add them we get what, minus 11. Okay, so we'll use what, so you should be familiar with the multiplication table. So this is what you do, the same procedure. Brackets, you don't have to spend a lot of time. Then you write your x here, your x here, then here it's minus 9, here minus what, 2. You're done. So guys, the same procedure here. We'll look at the coefficient of x, which is 1. Our constant is minus 36, so here we get a negative 36. Okay, then the number on the middle is 5. So we have to look at two numbers, right, that when you multiply them we get minus 36. So the only possibility is to have a positive number and the other should be negative, because when you multiply these two we get what, negative answer. Okay, so one number should be positive, the other should be negative. Okay, so we have to look at a positive number and the negative number, that when you multiply the two you get minus 36, and when you add you get what, 5. So we'll start looking at one positive and the other negative. Okay, so we'll start minus 1 times 36. So here when you multiply we get minus 36, yes. When you add we get minus minus, no, when we add we get 35, so we don't take it. Then we look at minus 36 times 1. Okay, when you multiply, yes, we get minus 36, but when you add we get minus 35, so no. When we look at minus 9 times 4, when you multiply, yes, we get 36, minus 36. When we add, we get a minus 5, so no. Now we look at minus 4 times 9. Okay, when we multiply the two, yes, we get minus 36, and when you add, yes, we get a 5. So we use what? Minus 4 and 5. So you guys should be familiar with multiplication table so that you can easily factorize quadratics. Okay, so the same procedure, two brackets, here x, here x. Okay, so write minus 4, then our 9 is what? Positive, plus 9. It's done. So you can write your plus 9 here, your minus 4 here, it's still okay. So now guys, the same procedure here. The coefficient of x squared is 1 times minus 4. So here it's minus what? 12. Then the number in the middle is what? Minus 4. So I have to look at two numbers. Okay, so the only way we can get a negative 12 is to have a positive number and a negative number. If we have both positive numbers, we'll get a positive answer. And if we have both negative numbers, we'll get a positive answer. So the only way we should have one positive and the other negative. So we'll look at the product of 12. Okay, so minus 2 times 6. Okay, so one should be negative and another positive. We get minus 12, yes, but when you add we get a 4, so no. So now minus 6 times what? 2. We do get negative 12 when we multiply, and yes, we get what? We get a 4 when minus 4 when we add. So you open brackets, here our x minus 6 plus 2. So this is your answer.